So before I put together these custom pieces I made for the EMERBU Toys TG or Tian Gong Arp9, I thought I'd show you what I did because a lot of it's going to get covered up when we put everything together. And one of the biggest things I did was basically cut off part of the, I guess what we'd consider the handguard on this, and then added a piece that is threaded that allows you to put on a barrel nut so that you can put on a different type of handguard, right? So this is just kind of showing you that, showing you what that looks like. This is just kind of a bezel that went around to make it look a little prettier. And then there's screws that go through here and through the top, all the way into that attachment piece using, in this case, using rivet nuts, but I also use heat inserts at some, and for some things as well. So that's how that's going to work. And then obviously this was a 3D printed piece. And this is actually PVC that I used for the outer barrel. And then just kind of a barrel, a little support that's going to slide, you know, right in here. And then there was a threaded tip already from the actual ARP that I could go ahead and reuse. So, you know, anything that's factory made threads is still going to be better than 3D printed threads. So I wanted to reuse that since I could. The other thing I did is we're going to go ahead and put a different stock on here. So I didn't paint this because there really wasn't any reason to, but there's, again, a rivet nut in there in that piece that fills. So it is really tight on there. But of course, once we click our, once we click this new buffer tube receiver on there, that'll tighten up. And then this will get screwed in through the top into that rivet nut. And then there's a separate rivet nut buried in there for this hole. And that's the rivet nut that this is going to screw into. I also just went ahead and put a couple long, thin screws on each side all the way through, because again, that's just going to add more stability. For like these pieces, I did end up printing with like 10 walls and 100% infill. I know some people say it doesn't make sense to do 100% infill, but I don't know how it can't be stronger, especially if you're doing that many walls and that infill. So I made sure to print those really strong because of the strain that'll be on them. Other things you can see here, just made kind of a little ambidextrous mag release. That's a modified one. That was for some completely different blaster or different airsoft, and it was able to do that. Got some canted rails here that are going to go in the back and on the front, you know, for the different sights. And then this long riser will go on the top here, right? So I was able to reuse a piece that I had because I have a bunch of this style and I couldn't, you know, I haven't really been able to reuse them for a lot. But what I did was I filled the bottom, right, so that it's completely filled and flush, and then sunk in some nice cut rivet nuts. So that's where the screws are going to go through, and this will go and mount on there, and just of course measured it so that everything came out perfect when I designed that kind of riser, right? Put a little, some side rails here on the handguard too. And then probably going to incorporate both of these. I got this, I was thinking of going with this one down here and then the small thin grip right up at the front. So we're going to see how that looks. The barrel terminates just inside the blaster, or inside the handguard, excuse me. So I'll use some sort of fake suppressor that can, you know, that is narrow enough to go through there, which is about 30, something that's about 30 millimeters wide should fit in there, no problem. So that's, again, a kind of a quick rundown and I guess an update before I complete it so that I could tell you all those different things. So now I'm just going to get it put together. And then, of course, I'll show you that completed product and end product. And, of course, we'll do a demo and test the FPS. I also upgraded the spring when I was in here. And, of course, I had to put in a longer barrel, metal barrel as well. And I've already tested that out and very impressed with the FPS. So you're going to want to see that. Comments, questions, post them below. Like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and participate in those monthly giveaways. Thanks.